Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Vikas Jain LIVE Show. This show covers the success stories of many professionals and thought leaders around the world. We also would like to acknowledge our partner, Career Bacon. They are there with the mission to clear the bridging the talent gap from classroom to boardroom, and they are having an event on 2nd of December. In this episode, our guest speaker, ter Wal, will talk about how happiness make money. So, as you must have heard about that, we all talk about that happiness and money both are equally important things. And then we definitely know that money is essential and required for things which are useful in making us happy. But let's understand that how vice versa works, which means how happiness can also be useful in making us the money. Before I invite the Paul, let me share his credential. ter Wal supports organizations with increasing the employability and especially the engagement of their employees because he strongly believes happiness make money. As a consultant, speaker, lecturer, and author, he worked extensively on corporate culture and engagement. With that, I would like to invite ter Wal to the show. Welcome, Paul.
Thank you very much, Vikas. It's great to be on your show.
Thank you. And I can see there was some technical glitch due to which you could not join with the laptop, but we had a makeshift arrangement to join from the mobile. And thanks for
Yeah,
being so flexible.
this will work as well.
That's great. So, Paul, before we delve further into this discussion, I would like my viewers to know more about you, about your quick journey, and any interesting aspect of your life that people would like to know.
I'm almost 65 years old, so I'm working more than 40 years. I started as a lawyer in social security and labor law. I worked there and in a health insurance company for about 10 years. Then I did consultancy for what is now known as Capgemini, a big IT firm and consulting firm. And then I was in the moment, I was about 37 years old, that I thought I'm working always at the back end of what's happening in the world. If you're ill, I was there. If you're unemployed, I was there. And I thought, why are we focusing always on curation and not on amplification, the front side? How can we make people stronger, more resilient, that they know what to do and how to take care of themselves, and then see how we can support people? I did that on stage, became a professional speaker, and I traveled around the world till Corona, lastly as president of the Global Speakers Federation. And I loved speaking in all countries in the world. So that's how it started. And then I was thinking, how can we make employee engagement more attractive for employers and employees? And that's why I came up with the sentence, happiness makes money. And that's what I do on stage.
Oh, that's so interesting. Such a tremendous journey, and from working in companies to having your own and working as an entrepreneur. That's
Yeah,
interesting. So
yeah.
when you talk about that happiness make money, so how you got interested into engagement and positive psychology as a former lawyer?
Yeah. Well, that's the question I always get. Why did you change from being a lawyer? And you can earn big money with being a lawyer. But I wasn't happy in doing it because I found out what my personal core values are. Those non-negotiables that decide what choices you make in your life. Um,
Right.
Being a lawyer wasn't not about my core values. My core values have to do with fun. Fun is a fundament for me. So if I do a job, it means to me that I need to have to get energy out of it. Let's say it in a simple way. I want to get energy from the work that I'm doing. And what I noticed that I went to the office at 8 in the morning, left about 5 or 6 p.m. And then at home, I was tired. And a lot of people will know that feeling that you get home and you think, oh, I lost all my energy.
Yeah.
And of course, it's great to be tired because then you worked hard, but you still need to have that feeling that you gained something during the day, that you learned something, that you invented something, that you helped other people. And that's for me energy as well. So I started looking, why is it working that way? And then I found out that we call it positive psychology, that you look at the energy resources that people have and how we can increase that positive side by giving people more attention, more autonomy, work on their belonging in a team. Are they really part of a team, or are they all single-minded employees doing their own stuff and not taking care of the other people? So belonging is very important. We saw that you need to train people, increase their competencies. And we also find out that we all need to be connected to the purpose of yourself and of your company. And especially generation Y and Z are much more focused on purpose. It's not about earning money. It's about fulfillment. It's about doing the stuff that gives you that energy, that gives you satisfaction in pursuing your purpose. And that's what made me so interested in working on the employee engagement side, because I think that if employees are happy and they're really engaged, that the customer will experience that as well. And with that, profitability of the organization will go up.
Okay, that's an interesting observation, that as the engagement increases, customer will be happy and it should lead to profitability. But do we have any research or any observation, any concrete data that this is the exact use case? We hear that lot, but is there any concrete data on that part? How does it happen?
Oh, there is so much research worldwide about this situation. I wrote a book in the beginning of this year, and I was looking for scientific research by Gallup, by Oxford Economics, and by Harvard. So 3 very important scientific research groups. And of course, they have different percentages because you never know what the questions are and how they interpret the answers. But overall, we can see that if people are engaged and they love what they're doing, that their productivity goes up with about 15 to 20%. So during 1 hour, they perform much better when they are engaged or when they are silent quitters. So if you don't like your job, you won't be that productive. And the quality of the stuff you're doing will go down. So always customer will notice, and especially Gallup found out that there are 7 keys of engagement and profitability. Okay. And especially in Western Europe and America, we see that a lot of people are leaving their jobs at this moment. During Corona, 50% of the people, of the employees, were looking for other jobs. Now it's going down to 35%, but still 1 out of 3 employees are leaving their job. And we don't have enough employees anymore. So if they're leaving, they will cost you money. But look at sick leave. Sick leave goes down between a non-engaged and an engaged, 80% less sick days per year if you are fully engaged. Same with the well-being of people. People are feeling themselves much better, about 60%. Customer loyalty goes up with 10 to 15%. So sales go up by 20%. That's all researched by Gallup, and it's published, I think, in May this year, these figures. And it's confirmed by Oxford Economics and by Harvard Business Review. So, yeah, I think that there is worldwide proof that if we look harder after our own employees, that they will improve their performance to the clients. And let's be honest, it's not the CEO who delivers the goods or the services to the employees. That's the professional. So if we can increase the engagement and the well-being of those professionals, they can deliver in a better way. And that's what all this research is about.
That's an interesting observation that I could not see the impact on the sick leave as well, because how engagement changed the sick leave. Any concrete observation that you observe there, that how engagement reduced the sick leaves?
Well, to be honest, I'm working in that field for the last 20 years. And what I notice is that 80% of the people that call in sick don't have a medical reason to do so, but there is something surrounding their life, some issues in their families, financially, mentally, physically, that gives them the opportunity to stay at home. And especially in countries where we have social security for this, so that the employer or the government pays your income while you're ill, then you see that it's easier to call in sick when you're not feeling well. And that's what we see in real life. And I do that every week. I see that if a person is fully engaged and is getting energy from their work, they are not calling ill unless they really have the flu, they have cancer, they had a car accident or whatever. But that's 2% point. And in the Netherlands, it's about 6% overall. So we can reduce sick leave by 60 to 80% if we take care of our employees. And that's funny.
Yeah, that's interesting. So does that cover all the 7 key engagement that you just referred to?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the research of Gallup is worldwide asked. So it's done the research in more than 140 countries. And every country, they give the same questions. So they look at the cultural surroundings in the country, and then they ask the questions. And what they see worldwide is the same tendencies, that sick leave goes down, productivity goes up. It's everywhere the same, because we're all human beings. And that's what I promote. We're not human resources. We're all human beings. So we need to look at a human being instead of a resource that we can skip and get somebody from the market and work for us. Maybe some countries can still do it, but I think in 5 or 10 years, worldwide, it will be the same issue. We don't have enough employees.
That's interesting. So how your engagement starts? What is your first point of action when you start working with an organization, and how do you increase the engagement then?
First, what I do is ask the CEO, what are your core values as company? And if you check any website, and especially the listeners who work for a company, go to the website of your company and try to find the core values, those non-negotiables of your organization. Because core values create the why and the what of the organization, the mission and the vision of the organization. And I see a lot of companies that have no clue what their mission and vision is. Oh yeah, they did it when they started about 10, 15 years ago. They created a business plan, and
Yeah.
the bank asked them to put in a mission and a vision. But do they still live those core values? Do they still live that mission and vision? And that's my question. It's an open question. I don't give an opinion about it. I want to know, is the C suite, the financial director, the human resource director, the CEO, do they really know what a company stands for? Because if I work there, sorry, if I work there, I need to know what the mission and vision is. Why am I working for an organization? And to be honest, there will be 20, 30% of the employees just go in, earn their money, and go back home. That's what we call the satisfied people. They come in time, they leave in time, they get their money in time, but they're not engaged. If you want to have more engaged people, you need to connect them with your core values. And that means that they need to know their own core values as well, and then create alignment between the core values of the company and those of the individual. And that's what I do first. First, ask, what are your core values? What is your mission? What is your vision? And how is it adopted by your employees? Do you ever talk about it? Or do they come in, spend a big part of their life in your organization, but you don't pay attention to them? So that's a big question, and that's the first issue that we do.
Okay, that's interesting, and it's making me curious that in corporate, when we talk about employee engagement, most of the time we have seen that HR professionals are doing some team building activities, some games and puzzles. But you didn't talk about those kind of games and puzzle. You started with the CEO, that top executives, that what are the
Yeah,
core values. So
yeah.
there is a lot of difference between these two approaches.
The point is what you are saying. Of course, we do team building, but that's not step number one. I need to find out, why do we need team building sessions? Otherwise, we're just starting with a game. We do some nice stuff. We go for a walk, but we're not going to the deep sense of what is needed, and that's alignment between core values. So the first thing I want to hear from the whole C-suite, do they know the core values and are they aligned with it? Because if I ask the professional who is working in the streets or in a shop, what are your core values and do you live the company core values, but the C-suite isn't doing it, I can't blame an employee for not taking care of the business. I need to know, is the top of the organization aligned? If so, then we make the next step and then we go to the other leadership teams. And sometimes we do team building sessions with those leadership teams because they are not connected to the core values, and we help them to get there. If you call one of the most used core values is integrity. Well, you and I and the listener know that we hear a lot of stuff about businesses and there is no integrity. So if you use integrity as a core value, I want to see, do you walk your talk? Is it true what you're saying? If you have integrity as a core value, do you really live that core value? If not, don't use it because people don't believe you anymore. And if I, as employee, see that you behave in a different way than what the core values are, I'm a quiet quitter. I'm not that productive anymore. I say bye bye. If I see an opportunity to leave, I will leave. So then we know that productivity goes down from what is normal, about 70% per hour, to less than 40, 45%. And that costs you money.
True. True. That's so important. So first step is connecting with the values, that what are the core
Yeah,
values of the organization, and then working with employees so that they can find the match, that what are their employees core values and how they can be connected with the organization core values,
yeah,
right? Yeah. So
yeah.
what is the next step? Is there any other step, other crucial step in this process?
Of course, the next step is to find out what the culture is of the organization, the way we do things around here. That's the saying that we use for the culture. If a young person comes into an existing organization, what we see that they look around for about 4 to 6 weeks, and then they adjust to the culture of the rest of the organization. So they lose their creativity because they are adjusting to what we do around here. What we try to find out is what are the unwritten and the written ground rules. So, what is the basis of that culture? So, we discuss it with employees in their team meetings. We ask, can you make a statement about what your culture is about? How do we talk about our colleagues when they are not there? How do we address problems? Is it silence? Is it going behind the back of somebody? Or is there an open conversation about, hey, I see what you did, and I think that's not right. So can we have a discussion about it? That's a positive, open culture. But we see a lot of culture are closed and have unwritten ground rules. And what we try to do is find out what are these ground rules? How can we change them? How can we make them positive? So it's not that me as a consultant come in and tell the people how to behave. What I do is asking questions. Why are you doing this in this particular way? Is that well thought? Is that the way you did things around here? Is this how you talk at the coffee machine? All those kind of stuff is what we try to find out. Because if we find in the culture some negative items, we can address them, make them neutral or positive. So we change and develop the culture. I like to use the word culture development instead of culture change, because culture change means that I think it's wrong what you're doing. But it was quite good until a certain moment that we changed our business, our attitude, the market changed, and we need to develop the culture in a new positive way. And that's connected to positive psychology as well, of course. So I believe that if we come in an organization and I come in with psychologists and coaches and trainers, and the first 2 or 3 months, we're just walking around asking questions. And that's the nice part, because we can earn money with it, and happiness makes money, as I said. No, that's a joke. But we need to find out the first 4 or 5 steps from core values, mission, vision, strategy, planning, culture. And if we can develop the culture in a way that is connected to the core values, then people will love their work much more. And then we start training leadership into being leaders instead of managers. Managers are ticking the boxes. Did you do what I asked you to do? And leaders have an open conversation. How can I support you? Are you okay? How can I help you? That is leadership.
That's so interesting, Paul, and it's a critical observation when you made that deep observation regarding the culture, that we don't need to change the culture. Like, the intention is not to change, but to develop the culture as per the current need, instead of
Yeah.
blaming that current culture is bad or something like that. That
Yeah.
itself is a, I think, the root of positive psychology. We are not finding the fault, it's about
No.
the improvements, it's about the development that we can focus upon.
Yeah. The point is, it is strange when I come from the outside and I'm telling you and your fellow employees that your culture needs to be changed or your behavior needs to be changed. Then I make a judgment, and I was a lawyer, but I don't want to make judgments. I
Yeah.
want to help you to get in the next phase, make the next steps. Because if I do it that way, then I'm not blaming you. I'm saying, hey, I see the environment changing, the world is changing. You have this culture. Would it help if we develop the culture more in that direction? And then people will say, oh, yeah, so you're not blaming me. You're just asking me to develop in another direction. That helps much more. And you see less people who say, oh, I don't like this program, I want to be out. So we don't want dropouts, we want ambassadors. We want people who support this kind of program. So it needs to be their own program.
That's interesting. And before going further, I would like to ask audience, like, if you have any question, and in case you're going to watch this show in future as well, do type in your comments. Like, what are your observation? What are your thoughts on the employee engagement that Paul just talked about? And what are your experiences when you worked in the organization and being a leader or an HR professional? If you have been curating the culture of your organization and the employee engagement, what have been your experiences? So do type in the comment box below, and in case you are having any questions, do type in the comment box below so that I can take up with Paul towards the end. Now, Paul, I have another question to you. Actually, my area of research is top 1% companies. That what is differentiating top 1% organizations in any industry with rest 99% of the industry? So do you see a level of different level of employee engagement in top companies compared to others? Are they more serious, or is there any difference?
No, I see this in all type of organizations. I think it started in IT companies, in .com companies, because they, and especially during the Corona time, a lot of those people could work from home
Yeah.
and or work hybrid, and we needed to create more attention, more awareness to those people who were staying at home and working from there. But I don't know how it is in India, but in the Netherlands, 60% of the employees need to be on their position. They're working in hospitals, they're working on the streets, they're working in shops. So they can't work from home. But it was those IT companies, consultancy firms, accountancies who were working from home and found out that they needed to connect in an open way with their employees. And then they started to ask questions: how can we create a program that will connect the people more with what we feel as an organization? But in my practice, I see health companies doing this kind of work. I see it in production, because production went down during Corona with 15 to 20%. There was more sick leave. Of course, they were still at their work. And now we need to reconnect with all those people. So for me, it's not about a certain kind of industry. It's more related to human being industries. So if you have more human beings working in your organization, then you need to be aware of what's going on.
Okay, that's interesting observation. I once visited Google because my friend is working there, and when I visited Google, I found that probably the lunch was like best in class, the kind of lunch which was served to employees. So,
Yeah.
is there a correlation between these kind of facilities with the employee engagement as well? that kind of facilities, the lunches and these kind of facilities given to the employees?
It helps, but it's not the same. We see it everywhere that people are paying the fees for fitness, that they give people the opportunity to buy an e-bike, that they have good lunches, that they can order online during work time their shopping needs, and it will be delivered at work. We saw it with cars, with lease contracts, all that kind of stuff. Does it help? Yes, of course, because your state of mind is working. How can I facilitate my employees? On the other hand, most problems are in the mental issues. So how can we support somebody who lost a partner? How can I facilitate in the mental well-being of that employee? Do I say to them, oh, the day after the funeral, you have to be back at work, otherwise I fire you? Or do you start a conversation with them and you give them a coach who can support them in returning to work? So yes, that obvious facilitation is great, but it's again a first step. And then you need to look, why are people dropping out? Why are people calling in sick? Most of the time, it has to do with mental issues. And we need to be aware of what's happening there. And in Australia, I've been there several times. They have a big national program, and it's Are You Okay? Are You Okay? 4 letters, but there is a lot about it. It's the question, hey, are you okay? Can I help you? Is there something I can do for you? So being truly interested in the well-being of employees, that for me is the most fundamental part of creating higher employee engagement. It's not about fruit in the workplace. It's not about a bike that you can use. It's about asking the fundamental human being questions. Are you okay? How can I help you? And that's new for leadership. It's new for the office of HR. And I don't think it's a trick that HR should do. It should be the role and position of every leader to ask that question. So you need to meet with your employees. You need to see them. So if they work hybrid, there needs to be a time that people are in the office and that you have a cup of tea with them and just ask those people, are you okay? Can I help you? How is your life going? Because that gives trust to the employees. And when it's part of your non-negotiables, then it's easy to ask that question because you are connected with those human beings. So I think you need to do it all. You need to do that material stuff, but you need to do the mental stuff as well. And I think that's most of the time forgotten because it's so difficult to ask.
Yeah, makes total sense. And I totally see the correlation that why it's important and what is the correlation between happiness, make money in the corporate. But as a consultant yourself or the business owners who are like self-employed, they're working in their own factories and businesses. Does that correlation holds for an individual consultant as well, that if they are more happy, they are making more money?
Yeah, I think, and it's well known that a lot of self-employed people create peer groups or mastermind groups. So you can be so lonely when you work as a independent consultant that you need to create a group of people, and that can be in the same business, or it can be in your area, or it can be a business club where you're a member of. So if you can create a group of peers, people that are doing the same kind of work as you do, you can do the same. I do it with some international speakers. We have a mastermind group. We meet every 3 or 4 months somewhere in Europe. And we spend the whole day helping each other with the issues that come up. And every Friday afternoon, I close my week with 4 or 5 colleagues, and we call it the beer speakers. But it's just being there on Friday at 5 p.m. and saying, how was your week? And we can tell each other everything. And sometimes it's just fun. We laugh a lot. And sometimes it's serious because somebody comes up with an answer when we say, are you okay? And they say, no, I'm not. And what you see in normal life that we then turn around and walk away mentally. What we try to do is they will say, okay, tell us about it. And then that person can tell his story and you can hug them or you can help them, or you can say, let's connect one-on-one and see how I can support you. So as an individual consultant, you must create this kind of groups, and then you work on the shared values as well.
That's very insightful, Paul. And I think I see some commendation coming in the comment box below. So I see a thumbs up from Chavi, and
Yeah,
then Anmol Kushwa is saying hello, sir, with a heart sign. So
yeah,
people
I
are
see it.
liking what you have shared. Yeah, thank you very much. So I'll come to the last question because I've actually taken it's so kind of you to share your insight and wisdom and time with us. My last question would be, definitely there will be so many organizations who will be interested in implementing this deep level of employee engagement. So they, how these people, how these organization can connect with you and work with you.
Well, the easiest part is nowadays go to LinkedIn, type in my name, and connect with me and ask me a question. And I will send you information in English. I have on YouTube a video of 2 minutes where I explain how employee engagement works. And it's also called Happiness Makes Money. But the easiest way is come to LinkedIn, connect with me. My website, terwal.com, is now under construction, will be open in 2 or 3 weeks. But I will send all the information I have if people want to be connected. And I have a tool, and it's for free. And I can send it to those people who are interested in it. It's the engagement benchmark tool, which I developed with my colleagues. It's the question to you as a leader, as a manager, how you think and how engaged your employees are. And we do it in 16 questions. It's on autonomy, it's on belonging, it's on competences and purpose. So you get 16 questions. You answer those questions. You will get the outcome, what we think that the engagement within your team or organization is. If you put in your email address, you will get a whole paper with all the information you need. We're not going to track you down. It's for free. It's giving people an insight how they can measure their employee engagement. It's a first step. You will find some answers on where you can start. And as I said, it's for free. It's in English. People can use it. If they send me a message on LinkedIn, I will send the link and they can use it.
And for the viewers' benefit, I have shown the link of your LinkedIn profile here
Oh,
on
yeah, I
the
see it.
down
Lovely.
below. So
Yeah,
people can refer to this LinkedIn, note it down, and go back to this recording and watch it again so that they
yeah.
get all the useful information. With that, I would like to thank you again, Paul, for taking out time and sharing your wisdom with us. And I would like to thank our partner Career Beacon, who are having their event on 2nd of December to be a partner for this particular Vikas Jain live show. Thanks, Paul. Thanks again. Any last message for the audience, like how they can make more money through happiness? Any last message? What do you think that people
The,
can do?
the last message is find your own core values. talk with your partner, with your family, your friends. Who am I? What makes me so special? Because we're all special. Find out what your core values are and how you perform in life.
That's interesting and so insightful. I think these are the easier said than done. People know, but
Oh,
I'm sure people will be able to act upon them, and
yeah,
that's what will make them more money through happiness.
yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Vikas.
Thanks, Paul. Okay, see you. And thanks for all the viewers for watching this show. See you in the next show of Vikas Jain Live Show. Bye bye. Have a nice day and take care. Bye bye.